Okay, you're live.
Hi guys. Just wait for a few people to get on. Is anybody out there? Just setting up the other phone so I can see the comments as they come in. Alright. Just there. Oh, I've got two people.
Well, one of them's you.
Oh, one of them's me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So there's one person, two people. Oh, I give up. I can't count today. Say hello so I know you're there. Oh, hi, Kylie. How you going? How's it going with 4 boys at home? 5? Oh, more people. Still really weird to me that there's a delay. Oh, dear. How's everyone enjoying the colder weather? Nice time to turn the oven on and do some baking. Hi, Claire. Oh dear. Ooh, we're up to 8 people now. Alright. Hi, Clarissa. Oh, sorry. It's Amy and Curtin on someone else's account. Oh dear. Is there anyone watching who's not in Canberra? That'd be very interesting to know. Okay. So we're going to get started because otherwise I'll sit here reading comments for ages and ages and ages. Hi Alison. Have you got your grandbabies today? First thing I wanted to show you is, you remember how I told you I had a bit of a Frankenstein type episode with my cupcakes the other day? It's really easy just to think that these are bad, they're evil, and they need to go in the bin. But you can actually rescue them and make them look reasonable. Hi Jasmine. So just a nice deep sharp scone cutter, popping it over the overflow of the cupcake and just cut, give it a little twist. You can pull that stuff off and end up with a reasonable cupcake to ice. So that's just a little hack of how you can make a disaster edible and presentable. Okay? You know, obviously it's always good to do things right the first time, but there's usually a way to save things. So that's just a little hack. Morning, Jasmine. Oh, hi, Troy. Troy's in Sydney. So, yes, that's my little hack for rescuing cupcakes. Alison's out feeding her horse. Alrighty. So, we're going to make a hydrangea cake today. Sorry, we've had a comment that a husband says there's no bag cupcakes. And a hydrangea cake, you can do them quite big if you want to, but I'm just going to make a little one today. Now, yes, this cake looks kind of green. It's actually blue on the inside. Every now and then, hi Amelia, hi Jacinta. Every now and then we have a commercial decorator or just a normal home baker who wants a coloured cake for gender reveals and that, and this was just some leftover blue cake. So I'm going to have blue on the inside of my hydrangea cake. So there's my cake. Let's put that in the bin. And the first thing I'm going to do, I'm actually going to cut this in half so I can do 2. Now, if you're doing a really big cake, you can use a great big long cake knife, but it's a 4-inch cake. I'm just going to use a bread knife. And so this is the way I level cakes. I get something that has a measuring implement on it. So our ganache scrapers are brilliant for that. And I am just going to go and mark at the same height all the way around. Now, one of the secrets to this is not using a super sharp point, because if you use a super sharp point, you're going to make a very fine marking in your cake and you're not going to be able to find it. when you go to level the cake off. All right, so I've created my dot to dot. And then, as always, fingers out of the cutting line of the cake, I'm just going to start joining up my little dots. Now, if anyone has come into the shop and asked me if I stock cake levelers, you'll generally get a little bit of a lecture about how most of them are a waste of money with the exception of an Ag Bay. But unless you can justify $250, practice this method of leveling your cakes off and you get a beautiful level cake. All right, so I've got my 2 halves and I'm going to do 2 little hydrangea cakes today. I'm not going to bother getting rid of the dome because that's just going to add to the dimension of the cake, okay? So I've got my 2 little cakes. You have to excuse my old crummy turntable I've got. This is the one I use for airbrushing on. Gets covered with food colouring all the time, so it's a little bit grey looking. Alrighty. Now, today I'm using the icing we make at the shop just because I grabbed it out of the freezer and I didn't have to make any extra this morning. You'll notice this one's a little bit whiter than what I was using on Tuesday. This is because we make this with half Solite and half butter. And by doing that, we get a much whiter buttercream, which takes colouring a little better. And it stands up a bit better to the heat. But also by keeping some of that butter content, you get the taste of the butter, which is always a good thing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do pink and purple. Pink and purple, blue and purple. Oh, blue and purple. I can't help myself. So I've got my 2 tubs of icing, and I did bring the icing colour from the shop today, so I'm just using gels, using the equivalent of the neon bright blue or the electric blue in the Americolour, and I think this one's Regal Purple. It is Regal Purple. Once upon a time it said Regal Purple. So I think I'm going to end up with quite bright blue icing, but you get that. Now, in the wild, hydrangeas have a great big variety of colour depending on the acidity of the soil. They can be blues and greens, they can be pinks and purples. So if you stick to your pinky purple bluey greens, you can generally find a picture of a hydrangea to match. Alright, so there we go. Got the blue. Then I'm just going to mix the purple. Oh, I haven't looked at the comments. So hi Robin, hi Emily, hi Jill. Alrighty. Regal purple's a pretty colour. Alright. And so at this point you can go, yep, that looks pretty good. I'm going to go with that. So with the hydrangea cakes, if you just piped the whole cake in purple or the whole cake in blue or half in purple and half in blue, it's not going to look as variegated as you would normally get in the wild. They're quite variegated colours. So we're going to load up our piping bags in a slightly different manner. Hi Jasmine, are you at work today? This is Jasmine, who works for us sometimes, Jasmine. I'm wondering if she's at work watching or if she's at home. So to do our hydrangea cake, to do the piping, we're going to use a 2D piping tip. This is a drop flower tip. They're pretty cool. I'll show you how to do the drop flower afterwards if I've got icing left. So again, dropping the tip down into the piping bag. Grab my trusty scissors and just score it, remembering that you need to make sure the bottoms of the piping tip are clear from the bag. All right. Fold the cuff back, pretend it's a toddler. Now, if you're going to pipe cupcake swirls and you want to stripe, you can just come and paint the side of your bag with icing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of paint all the way around my bag in blue and purple, and then I'm going to fill the rest of the bag with white. So I'm going to get quite a lot of colours coming through with any luck if I do it properly. Your palette knife's a really good way to do this because you can get your stripes going nicely because it's nice and thin. If you're just using a spoon for this, you won't have as much control. Now, if you're experimenting with your colours for doing this, keep in mind that your icing will eventually mix in the bag. So if you use colours on opposite sides of the colour wheel, like orange and green or, I can't even remember now, but if you use colours from the opposite sides of the colour wheel, what's going to happen is you'll get brown. And hydrangeas don't come in brown unless you kill them. Alright, so then I'm going to come in with some white, because this way we should get a slightly lighter centre. Okay, pat that down. Hi Natasha! Okay, now, if I just started piping on my cake now, I would probably, look at that, just get purple. So you actually want to squeeze through. See how I'm now starting to get other colour coming through? You want to just make sure you've got that other colour before you start piping. So I'm going to do the baby one first. I like the world's cutest little drum board that I found in the cupboard. And just a bit of icing to attach him. Now, some people will start piping on the top. I like to start piping down the bottom, only because you can get a more uniform line. Alright, I've got to... Now, I've just knelt down on the floor because I like to have what I'm piping to be at my eye height. So I should turn that the other way. So I'm just holding the piping tip a few millimetres from the piping surface and going squeeze, stop squeezing and pull away. And I'm going to finish this bottom row before I come up to the next row. And what's going to happen, I've got to, look at that, I have a lump in my icing, is as the icing becomes more mixed in the bag, you'll get slightly changing of tones. So if you just go random all over your cake to start with, it's not going to be, I guess uniform's the right word. So you can see how quick and easy this is. Now, if I had a cut edge exposed, so if I had cut the crust off this cake, which I know a lot of people do, I don't personally see the point in cutting the crust off a cake before you ice it. You do want to give this guy a little bit of a crumb coat or a rough ice first, because this is not an airtight piping technique, meaning that you will have little gaps through the icing where the air can get through. So you can see I'm still turning the turntable the wrong way. You can see I'm building up the line in a nice uniform fashion, and at the bottom it was more purple and the top is blue. Alright, and this is, these are a really cute little gift. I think one of these might end up at my in-laws' place today. And much to the sadness, it's not normally a cake I put sprinkles on. Okay, so there we go. I've done the sides. Oh. Now, I haven't put quite enough icing in the bag, so I am going to have to go and refill it. But just remember that when I was talking about backfilling your piping bags, you can, obviously by backfilling this, you'll be able to squeeze more of your current icing through. Okay. So pretty. And you see the colours as it's changing coming up the cake. It's one of those times I'm actually reasonably careful with how colour goes onto a cake. I'm usually quite haphazard about it all. Oh, we've got 33 people today. Did everybody enjoy Tuesday's live? Alright, so I've just added a little bit more icing. And I'm going to come around There we go, we're starting to get some of the pink again. So look how pretty that looks. Ooh, so pretty. I like that. And that was only a little 4-inch cake. And whilst it looks really tiny, like this, it looks so much bigger when it's done. All right, so I'm just gonna move him for a sec and come over to one of the cupcakes. Alison's hungry now. Alison needs cake. So same thing on a cupcake. Just go around the edge, do your little star pipes around the edge. So when I say star pipe, that's the technique, which is just the squeeze, stop squeezing and pull away. You'd normally do this with a star tip rather than a drop flower tip. And look how cute that is. Really, really cute. When you're piping like this on a cupcake, make sure you don't cover the edges too much, because whilst it looks nice, it makes it really difficult to pick the cupcakes up to eat them, especially if they're going into a cupcake box. Okay, apparently my husband's hungry from the other room again. This working from home thing. There we go. Oh, there's another cute little cupcake. Fill it in. Now, if you wanted to, you could put leaves with the cakes if you wanted to. So I'll quickly do this one. I think I'll have enough icing. But what I was talking about the crumb coat before is if you've got a cut edge on your cake, a little bit like Tuesday when I was talking about putting a layer of icing down first, so you make sure you've covered the edge of the cake. Just by doing a really thin coat like that over the cut edges or over the whole cake, it fills in all the gaps and it seals it up a bit and will make your cake last longer. I don't normally pick my cakes up like that when I'm icing them. It's just, he's so little. Hi, Vanessa. How are you? All right. A little bit of icing under there. All right. So what I'm going to do on this one is I'm just going to put all the leftover icing in the bag, and we'll see what colours we get coming out. And as I said, it doesn't really matter what colour variations you get, as long as your colours aren't going to mix to brown, and as long as you stick with those basic colours that hydrangeas come in. Oh dear, there we go. Where's Erin? I just made a mess. Erin thinks it's funny when I make a mess. That cake could be Stefan's. I can't even remember what I was saying now. As long as you stick to the basic hydrangea colouring, you'll be fine. Oh look, my dishwasher just finished just in time. Okay. I'll get the leftover white in there as well. Hi, Lisa. All right. Let's see if I can get this whole cake done with what I have left. So you can see a bit of that white coming through from that first backfilling I did. Now, if you are short on icing when you're doing this, the closer your piping tip is to the surface of the cake, the less icing you're going to use. So it's a bit like doing a cupcake swirl. The closer you are, the less icing you're going to use. All pretties, the purples are coming through now. I'm sorry guys, I just cannot seem to make myself turn the turntable the opposite direction. So how cute is that? Just two halves of a 4-inch cake. And you get two really nice looking cakes, and it's literally just one very basic piping technique that's taught in the very first week of the Wilton class, and in any basic piping class I teach, it is the first piping technique you learn. pretty much. You can do so much with it. So I want to see heaps of Hydrangea Cakes now on the page. I loved everybody sharing their photos of their Easter cupcakes. That was just divine. So yeah, that was just backfilling the bag with all the leftover icing. So yeah, look at that. Pretties. I'm going to have to hide them from the kids. And by kids, I mean Stefan. So the other really cool thing you can do with this 2D kit is what we call a drop flower. So what we've been doing with that star pipe technique is just doing what we'd call a non-turning drop flower, which is like that, okay? But what you can do with this guy is turn your wrist in, squeeze and unroll, and you get this instant flower. They're pretty cool. I do like drop flowers. Squeeze and turn. Now, if you're doing these out of royal icing, you can just dry them on the baking paper. Hi Justin, how are the puppers? The puppers enjoying you and Amelia being home? If you make these in royal icing, you can just let them dry. If you make these in buttercream and you pop them onto baking paper, you can pop them in the freezer and then take them off. It's not quite as straightforward to do them onto a cupcake. It is possible though, it's just not quite so easy. So that's kind of like what they look like if you pipe them straight onto a cupcake. Not bad, but not brilliant. Hi, Kate. Jasmine wants cake now. Oh dear. Well, we still have cake in the freezer at work if you want to come and buy a cake. We are open on Easter Saturday from 10 till 1. So if you need any last minute Easter supplies, all of our Easter moulds and Easter cutters are 30% off. They have been, I think, most of this week. We won't be open on Easter Monday. And then we'll be open on Wednesday again. All right, there's another little one. So what I'm just going to do is try not to squish anything. I'll take my grotty turntable out of the way. And look at all the mess. And I don't have Kylie here to clean it up for me. I miss Kylie. So there's one cake. There's the other cake. And some pretty cupcakes. So guys, that is literally all there is to a hydrangea cake. We do get asked every now and then, oh, can you do a class on hydrangea cakes? But really, it's one technique. So it's really not a difficult one to do. Stefan says I have my unpaid husband to clean up for me. Oh dear. Oh, I'm so pleased you feel like being out and doing something. Oh no, Lisa's daughter made some cupcakes for today, but her brother ate them. And yes, I can say hi to Kylie for you. Is it Kylie or Shaylee? Shaylie. Shaylee, is that how I say it? Hi Shaylee. I really don't do letters very well. I'm much better at numbers. Yes, Stefan has always been paid in cupcakes for the last 25 years. Now, I have a cake that I was meant to demonstrate at the Illawarra branch of the Cake Decorators Association State Roster Day, which is an open day. That was meant to be earlier in March, and we weren't able to do that because of the COVID-19 situation. So tomorrow, being Good Friday, at 11 o'clock, because 11 o'clock gives me time to get stuff ready, I will demonstrate this cake, which is using chocolate, using the colour mill colourings. I'll be moulding some chocolate. I'll be using chocolate polish. And I will basically do the demonstration that I would have done for the Illawarra branch of the Cake Decorators Association. It's not really one that you will be able to do at the same time, but again, we will upload the video so you can refer back to it. But we'll be making grass out of chocolate with a pastry brush, and we'll be doing some chocolate brush strokes, and I'll show you how easy it is to colour white chocolate with the colour mill colouring. You may have noticed a distinct lack of candy melts in the shop these days, with the exception of the new Sprinks ones that are just cute. But we just don't think that there's a need for candy melts anymore, with how easy it is to colour white chocolate with the colour mill colouring. So we'll get into that one tomorrow. Jasmine Wells made some cupcakes yesterday to decorate them today. Oh, you forgot your colouring. And guys, you can colour your buttercream with gels or liquids, that's fine, whatever you have on hand. If you make your icing too slushy, just put a little bit more icing sugar in. Alright, is there any questions before I head off and clean up my mess? One of my cats wants to come and say hello. Oh, Jill's going to decorate some tomorrow, and then they're going to be green. I'm glad you had fun, Alison. It's nice inviting people into my kitchen, especially when it's clean. I have had a request to show people how I store my cake decorating stuff at home. But if you picture my desk in the shop, yeah, my organisational system at home's not much better. So I think I'll just stick to showing you my relatively clean kitchen. Alright, well, if that's it, please, if you have any further questions, post them below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And I will see you tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock for an extra demonstration. Bye, guys.